Hey guys, like my Christmas decorations? Anyways, welcome to another episode of Wellness for Women Entrepreneurs. So today we're gonna do things a little differently. I wanted to talk about my personal weight loss journey in the past year because it's December, we're coming up on the end of the year, and I just wanna share with you some of the growth that I went through in my own weight loss journey because this year was special. As some of you have known, I got married this year, and so I went on my own journey to lose weight, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute, but I just wanted to make this video because I feel like sometimes women are so hard on themselves when they can't lose weight, and I just wanna say, you know, I'm a health coach, I'm a weight loss coach, I'm a registered nurse, I used to be a personal trainer, and even then, even with all them accolades and credentials, I also still have my own struggles with weight loss, and I wanted to be transparent with you guys, and I wanted to share it with you so that you could see that we're all human. We're all in this together, and even if I'm a coach, I still have struggles, and I want to show you exactly what I went through and how I overcame those struggles so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So watch till the end of the video to see exactly how my weight loss journey went in 2022 and how you could make 2023 the most amazing year for you and so that you could reach your weight loss goals. So a little backstory. The reason why I wanted to lose weight for my wedding was because earlier this year, I was training for the LA Marathon. And you can see I have a whole shelf full of medals here, look. This is my awards shelf kind of thing, but where is it? Right there's my LA Marathon medal and some Spartan races here. These are my prized possessions. But anyways, so I ran this marathon, and I hadn't run a marathon in a while. Like, I was really a fitness junkie several years ago, especially I started my fitness journey in 2013. That's when I ran my first half marathon, and that just set me in this whole fitness journey. I just got I caught the race bug, and I did so many races. I did over 40 races, probably more like 50 races total. I did so many half marathons, I ran full marathons, I did Spartan races, I did crazy things. I applied to join American Ninja Warrior and all sorts of stuff. But I stopped doing those kind of events in 2018 because I kind of did all the events I wanted to. I kind of hit all these goals, and I wanted to start focusing on my business, so I kind of stopped doing those races. Fast forward now to 2022. My brother-in-law is a crazy marathon runner. He did this one challenge one time where he ran like 52 marathons in 52 weeks. I'm not even joking. He ran a marathon like every week. Anyway, so him and my sister, like, we talked about wanting to do LA Marathon this year. So we ran LA Marathon, but in the process of training for this marathon, I had not trained for a marathon in like 5 years at this point. And so marathon training to me was a little challenging. It's funny though, it wasn't the running part that was challenging to me. The part that was most challenging about marathon training was actually the food. So the thing that made the food and nutrition challenging with marathon training was that when I ran more, my appetite went up. And so especially when I went on long runs, I would have runs in the weekend where I would be running like 15-mile runs, 13-mile runs, and eventually me and my husband trained to do 20-mile runs to get ready for this marathon. A marathon is 26.2 miles. But as we ran these long distance runs, and we were running like 3 times a week, we were running a lot, and my appetite went up. And so something that would help me with marathon training before is that I would eat a little bit more carbs than normal. So I would have carbs before I run, and it would help fuel the long runs. However, I struggled with my appetite after the runs. So after I ran LA Marathon in March or so, I had a thought process that since I worked out so much, I can eat a lot. And this was a sort of mindset around food that I had when I started running back in 2013. Like, I had this sort of mindset of like, oh, as long as I'm working out a lot, I can eat a lot and I won't have any consequences or things like that. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I had a lot more muscle mass before. When I was doing all these races before, I was doing a lot more races, I was working out a lot more, I had more muscle mass. But this time around, I was not doing any strength training. The only thing I was doing was just running. I was only doing cardio. And so when you don't have a lot of muscle, you're not actually burning a whole ton of calories. Even if you're running for a long time, if you're not exerting too much effort, or if your workout isn't too intense, you're not really consuming like a lot of calories, but my appetite would be up so high. So anyway, after running a lot, especially after running LA Marathon, I would just be wanting to eat a lot. So I noticed that during this time, like after I ran LA Marathon, I noticed that I would just eat a ton at restaurants. So me and my husband Michael, we would often go to like Korean barbecue restaurants. We would go to a lot of all you could eat sort of restaurants, or restaurants where they give you big portions, like Korean restaurants with tofu soup and things like that. We'd eat a lot, and I just felt really hungry from all the running. So it got to this point where, especially in February, I just didn't like how I looked. I felt really flabby. I felt bloated all the time, and I had a lot of judgments around my body. I did not like how I looked in my body. Whenever I looked at myself in the mirror, I was judging myself. And you know, you'd think as a life coach or as a health coach or weight loss coach, you'd think I wouldn't have thoughts like this anymore. But the truth is, sometimes those thoughts just come back, especially if you have a long time history of beating yourself up, of talking to yourself negatively in the mirror, which I do. Like, even though I've been pretty small all my life, I had a lot of negative self-talk. Like, the way that I thought about my body, I was constantly comparing myself to other women, like celebrities or people who are skinny. I always wanted to be like super skinny, and so sometimes those thoughts could be like really ingrained. And so it was kind of triggering for me at this time that, you know, I'd always be comparing myself to other people who look skinnier than me. And it's crazy, right? Even if I'm not even overweight technically, like I'm not overweight by the BMI standards, but still I would talk to myself so negatively. So I was in this really negative space, and I got really obsessive with my numbers. Really obsessive with the scale, and really obsessive with wanting to bring the weight down. So this is my at-home gym. I have a full dumbbell set here. This is a weighted backpack. It has like a 20-pound plate in it. It's really heavy, and this has like foam rollers and my yoga mat. This is a massage gun that I used a lot for the marathon training. But anyway, it's my at-home gym. And I'm showing that to you guys because I wanted to go back into strength training in March, because I was at like my heaviest weight. Like after LA Marathon, I was like at my heaviest weight that I've ever been in my life. I was pretty heavy. I got to a heavy weight the year before during my birthday month, which I'll talk about in a minute. But after LA Marathon, I just ate so much food, and then I just like gained a bunch of weight. So I wanted to start a strength training program, and I wanted to work out at the gym. And I hadn't had a gym membership in a while, especially because of COVID, and I would always be used to doing workouts on my own. So I hadn't had an actual like gym membership where they plan out the workouts for you and stuff like that. I hadn't done that in a while, so I decided to sign up for F45 nearby, and I had never done it before, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I decided to try. to join F45. But the thing that was kind of funny about F45 is that when you go there, they have a scan, like they have an in-body scanner, which can measure your body fat percentage, your weight, and things like that. And so you could use it whenever you want. Like it measures your body fat percentage like whenever you want. You don't have to pay extra for it. And so I'd be like obsessed with this machine, you guys. I'm not even joking. Like I would want to weigh myself every week on that machine and make sure my body fat percentage was going down. Like I had a goal, like I wanted to be at 18% body fat. I was normally at around 20%. But I wanted to be like yoked for my wedding, so I constantly like would work out, like, you know, I'd work out and then the next week I'd be disappointed if the body fat percentage didn't change. So for those of you who don't know, F45 it means functional training for 45 minutes. So it's like a 45-minute workout where you're doing a lot of functional movements like squats and push-ups and things where it could help you in your daily life activities. And so it was great. It was like 45 minutes and I would go at 5 a.m. and it would be a fast workout. And when I started, I was doing pretty well. Like my weight was going down consistently and I saw the body fat percentage on that in-body scanner going down consistently. However, the thing that constantly kept tripping me up, it was my social eating. Whenever it would be the weekend, you guys, I would be eating a lot at restaurants. So even if I was working out at F45 consistently and I ate well, quote unquote, I ate clean, quote unquote, from like Monday to Friday, in the weekend, that's when I wouldn't necessarily eat like super unhealthy food. Like I don't eat bread, I don't eat like a ton of things like sweets or candies or whatever, but I would overeat the healthy food. So if I had Korean barbecue or American barbecue or something, I would eat a lot of those meats, which tend to be fattier meats, or I would eat like cheese, like charcuterie, and would eat a lot of cheese, even though I wasn't needing to eat more. So I found myself in this pattern of constantly eating more food than my body needed for fuel, especially in the weekends when I was at restaurants. This is my medal up close from LA Marathon. It's so beautiful, but yeah, it's just going to show you that even if you run a marathon, the working out, that's not what makes you lose weight. You always have to look at what you're eating. And so again, like I said, in March, I was at my heaviest weight. So going into April, I was still doing a lot of workouts, but even if I was working out consistently at F45, like 2 to 3 times a week, I would still be in the same pattern of gaining it all back during the weekend when I would eat. And on top of that, that in-body scanner that would scan my body fat percentage, like I'd be doing that every week, right? And it started going up, even though I was working out more and I was doing more strength training. Like it wasn't my muscle mass that was going up, it was my body fat percentage that was going up, and this threw me in for a loop and a spin and a mental whirlwind. So now it's around April of this year, and I still kept relying on working out to solve all my weight loss problems. Even though I'm a coach and I know it's not only working out, I really kept trying to work out harder and was just hoping that running more, exercising more would help with the weight. But I still had that problem of overeating at restaurants. So this was amplified when I would travel. So in April, I went to a mastermind event. I went to a live in-person event for my life coach school certification. Every year they have a mastermind, and it was in Texas this year. And so it was a time where I was meeting a lot of other life coaches and we were eating together like constantly. I like ate out so much in those 3 days or so. And eating out started to bring up a lot of anxiety for me because at this point I was already starting to lose trust in myself of like, oh, whenever I eat out, I always eat more than I want to. So I was getting really anxious around eating out with other people, and I was really even starting to have this mindset of like, gosh, I don't know if I can ever get my eating under control. Like I remember thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, I'm out of my control. I'm out of control with eating food. I'm doing it again and I'll never get this together. Like I was literally having thoughts like that. And I just want to share this with you guys because these kind of thoughts can still come to my mind even though I've been doing the work on myself and I've been journaling and meditating and coaching myself for a while now. I can still have these insecurities come up from time to time. So if this is happening to you, there is nothing wrong. That just means you're human. And I'm gonna also share with you how that started to turn around for me. But yeah, so in April, was still eating out a lot, still gaining weight, and then I even did a photo shoot. I did a branding photo shoot with my photographer, Keisha. She's amazing. If you're in the Orange County area in California, she's an amazing branding photographer. But anyway, I wanted to lose weight for this photo shoot, and even though I worked out a lot, I didn't lose weight. In fact, I was like at a pretty heavy weight still. I didn't lose too much weight since the LA Marathon. And at first I was really embarrassed. Like I thought that I wasn't sure how the photos would turn out because I wasn't as skinny as I wanted to be. And I was really nervous at first. I felt like I would be a hypocrite if I looked overweight in my photos and whatnot. But what actually ended up happening was that even though I was like nowhere near my goal weight at that time, and I'm exaggerating, like when I say nowhere near, I just mean like 6 pounds away. But anyway, I was 6 pounds away from where I wanted to be, and I was freaking out about these photos. But the crazy thing is that they actually ended up being like my best photo shoot ever. And it was just like, it really showed me like, oh wow, the most important thing in a photo shoot isn't your weight. It's not the number on the scale. It's more about just how you feel about yourself, and it's more about the energy you exude. And when I was in that photo shoot with Keisha, she did a really good job of helping me feel comfortable, and I just felt really confident. Like the clothes I wore helped me to feel confident. I bought new outfits just for that photo shoot, and they were like power suits. They made me feel like a badass entrepreneur, and I recommend that every woman entrepreneur has those power outfits, especially if you go to a networking event or a conference or things like that. So I was wearing those outfits and I felt really good in it, and my energy really showed through. So what I learned in a photo shoot, which is really eye-opening to me, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you've been putting off a photo shoot because of your weight, the more important thing with a photo shoot is how confident and comfortable you're feeling in front of the camera, and also your energy. Just like can you bring yourself in an energy of confidence? And having a photographer that helps you feel comfortable, having a space that you're doing a photo shoot in where you feel comfortable, and wearing clothes where you feel like a boss is gonna help you create that confidence. And also, of course, thinking about yourself in a confident way. But definitely those environmental shifts will help you if your confidence isn't really in your mind 100% yet. And I have to say too that I liked that the photo shoot was in a private home. Like we rented a Peer Space location. It was a really beautiful home in Orange County, and it was private. And I loved having a private shoot because a lot of my past photo shoots have been out in public areas. And I'm better at it now, like being in front of the camera in public settings, but I just don't want people staring at me. Like I've had photo shoots where people start a conversation with me while my photographer is trying to take photos, and it's just not the vibe that I want for a photo shoot. So anyway, that's something I just thought was mind-blowing to learn about photo shoots when you want to do your branding shoot for your business. I wanted to show you one more thing here in my little medal rack. This is my Ragnar medal, and I got this medal in April, and it's a relay race where you run in teams of 12, and you're literally running for like 36 hours straight in a van and you're just stuck with people running. And you take turns like a relay. It's a relay race, so 12 runners dividing up a distance of about 200 or so miles over 36 hours. So I did Ragnar, and I was doing a lot of races, you know, and even if I was doing races, again, the working out wasn't the thing that made me lose the weight. So things finally started to change in May. Look who's here. Hi, Coffee. Hi, Coffee. She likes, oh my gosh, she's gonna jump at me. She likes hanging out in my holiday decorations. But anyway, so things were finally starting to turn around in May. I had this realization. I was like, okay, Charmaine, you're eating a lot, especially in restaurants. You're eating more food than your body needs. And so I had this like concept that I came up with that I never thought of before. And it was this concept of going on a date with your food. And what I meant by that was I just wanted to set aside time for myself where I would just be alone with food. And I would eliminate all distractions, and it would only be me and food. No phone, no music, no podcast and whatnot. And you know, the reason why social eating can be a challenge, or eating in a restaurant can be a challenge, is because you're surrounded by so many stimuli, like so much inputs. You're surrounded by people, you're surrounded by the environment, and the food looks really pleasing. So there's a lot of ways in a restaurant where they can manipulate you to make you want to eat more. And there are actually a lot of books about that, where restaurants do engineer an experience to make you want to eat more. So it's not crazy, it's actually a real thing. So anyways, I'm just saying that so you don't feel bad if you do eat a lot in restaurants, because like I said, they do purposefully make restaurants a certain way so you can eat more. But anyways, so I did this thing where I went on a date with my food, and I was starting to eat a lot more mindfully. So anyway, I started doing this thing where I'd be eating food at home with no distractions, and it helped me just slow down my eating, eat more mindfully. And then I started to see that the portion sizes I was eating with my food actually were much more than I needed. Like, no, go figure. But when you actually slow down your eating, your stomach can send your signal to the brain that it's full. So when I had no distractions, I was able to pay attention more to my stomach, and I would see like, oh wow, I actually don't need to eat a ton of food. Like, I would eat a lot of big portions at home because I like eating big meals. Like, big meals would help me feel full, but what I realized was I actually didn't need to eat a whole ton. So I started applying this when I would go out. So normally, May would be the month where I gain a lot of weight. Last year, I was at my heaviest weight ever during May because I was eating out all the time. I was eating out at restaurants. It's my mom's birthday, me and my twins' birthday. It's my husband's birthday. It's Mother's Day. May is a crazy month, y'all. And so I would just be eating out a lot. And so I finally cracked the code on, okay, when I eat out in a social event, I'm gonna slow down my eating. I'm gonna put my fork down in between bites, and I am not gonna eat more food than I need to. And the crazy thing that happened, you wanna know what the crazy thing that happened was, Coffee? The crazy thing that happened was that when I did this in my birthday, Michael treated me to a trip to go down to San Diego for my birthday this year. And he surprised me. I had no idea what we were doing. But even though we ate out at restaurants, I ate things really slowly. I savored each bite. I really enjoyed my food and tasted my food as if I was like a judge in a food competition. You know, just very, just like tasting things very slowly and savoring each taste. And when I did that, I actually saw that my weight didn't spike up like it did last year during my birthday month. So instead of like my weight jumping up 4 or 5 pounds after my birthday eating, it actually only spiked about like 2 pounds. And I was like, oh wow, I'm starting to see that I can have control over the weekends, and when I eat out. And that was starting to be the turning point to me finally breaking a weight plateau that I had been in for a few years, and that was the start of the downward trend to my goal weight. All right, so in May, I made a few big decisions. I decided to leave F45 because, this is a true story, I thought it wasn't intense enough. I wanted to do a harder workout because I felt like the movements I was doing wasn't challenging enough, and let's face it, I'm competitive. I like to lift heavy weights. I like CrossFit. I was like, I need to do something harder. But I was very thankful for F45 for getting me back into strength training, for getting my muscles strong enough. So then I went into a CrossFit gym for the first time in basically 5 years. I went into a CrossFit gym membership again. And it wasn't because of anything bad happened with CrossFit. It was just I was doing a lot of workouts on my own over the past few years, and I didn't really feel like I needed a gym membership. But these days I was like, yes, I want a gym membership. I want the gym to think of the workouts and not me, and I wanted the group support. So I signed up for a CrossFit gym membership. And I was really like, I'm gonna build muscle mass. I was still obsessed about the body fat percentage thing, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna build muscle mass, I'm gonna decrease my body fat percentage, and I'm also going to start losing weight. So, started on my CrossFit journey, and it was June by this time, and in June, I also went to Hawaii to do some things for the wedding. This Hawaii trip was there to get me prepared for my Hawaii wedding in September. So we did a wedding tasting, and what I realized in that time was I was just so carb crazy. Like, I think since from the marathon, I still had this craving a lot for carbs because I had been eating a lot of carbs during my marathon training. And so I decided, well, first of all, in Hawaii, I ate so much rice. Like, it was not even like bread or flour or pasta. It was eating a lot of rice and eating so much starchy foods like the rice. I was eating it so much in Hawaii, like spam musubi and just poke bowls and all sorts of things, that I actually got sick. Like, I got nauseous, I ate too much carbs, and when I eat a lot of carbs, you guys, I just don't feel good. And for those of you who know my story, I was pre-diabetic in 2017, which is why I started eating sugar-free and low carb, and I reversed my pre-diabetes. But when I have carbs now, I just don't feel good. So I made a vow in June to not have any starchy foods, like no rice, no flour, no grains, no nothing, from June until September, until the wedding. So I committed to that. So from June all the way to September, I did not have any rice, no potatoes, no sugar, like no added sugar. I didn't even have fruits. So I went pretty strict keto from June to September. And that's when some shifts were starting to change. Like when I was much more clean and limiting the carbs, I was noticing I was getting less bloated, and then the CrossFit was helping me to build more muscle mass and also burn more calories because I was building more muscle. So that was happening in June. And in July, even though my weight wasn't quite where I wanted to be yet, I was noticing changes in my body composition. So even if I weighed the same in February, even if I was like 105 pounds in February, and in July, if I was 105 pounds, my body composition looked different. Like, I was starting to have abs again. I was starting to have muscles, like my deltoids were showing, and I started having back muscles coming back. So even if I weighed about the same, you could see that my body was changing. So I always recommend my clients to do progress photos so that they could see that transformations are going on in your body, and that the weight can't always measure your, how much is muscle mass versus fat percentage. So it was helpful to track my progress photos throughout this time. And then that's when I saw the changes in July. And then finally we're at August. So in August, that's when I was really starting to eat more protein in my diet. I was eating higher protein, less fatty foods. Like, I was being much more conscious and mindful of my fat intake. So I have nothing against healthy fats, but if you want to lose weight, you do generally want to increase your protein content, increase the protein and decrease the amount of healthy fats. So you just want to be mindful of how much cooking oils are you using, how much butter are you eating, are you putting heavy cream or things like that in your coffee, like creamer. So just noticing all the amounts of fat that could add up easily, I was really conscious of that. So I ate more leaner meats and I had smaller meals that I ate more frequently, and that really seemed to help me lose the weight. So now when we went into September, I was really starting to lean out, and just a couple weeks or so, just a week or so before my wedding, I actually reached my goal weight of around 100 pounds, which I had not weighed, you guys. Like, I had not weighed that weight for like 2 years. I hadn't weighed 100 pounds since like COVID, like since 2020, and I thought it was like impossible. I thought it was literally impossible for someone like me who's 4'9". I thought it'd be impossible for me to get down to 100 pounds again, but I was able to do it in a way where I didn't have to fast all day. I didn't have to starve myself. Not that I have anything wrong against fasting. I still fast regularly, but I mean, like, before in the past when I wanted to be 100 pounds in high school, I would literally like not eat anything and restrict calories. Fasting is not about restricting calories, you guys, so I just wanna put that out there, that PSA, fasting's not about restricting calories. It's just about restricting the time that you eat. So you eat the same amount of calories, you eat the same quality of food, but in a shorter time period. Just wanna put that out there. Anyway, so I was finally seeing progress, and then September I was 100 pounds, and then it was almost time for my wedding. But one other challenge I didn't really anticipate was that just a few days before my wedding, we were in Hawaii, and I was starting to eat a lot of food again. I think I had this mindset of, oh, now that I've lost this weight, I'm all good. It's okay. I could just eat what I want. I was starting to get into that mindset, and then I was starting to eat more when I was eating out. I wasn't as mindful again of how much food I was eating out at restaurants. And so I just want you guys to be careful about this. Like, if you are closer to your goal weight, you're going to have sneaky thoughts in your brain that will tell you like, hey, it's fine to eat more. You work so hard, you could eat a little bit more. So I did end up eating a little bit more in the week before my wedding. And then I actually didn't look as lean as I wanted to for the wedding. So I was probably like a few pounds up from 100 pounds. I was probably like 102 to 103 pounds by the time of the actual wedding. But you know what? At the end of the day, I was still so proud of myself of all the progress I made. I still loved all the wedding photos. I loved how it turned out. I thought I looked absolutely gorgeous. They did an amazing job with my makeup. I had my makeup done by Perfectly Made. That's the name of the company that helped me with my makeup. They did my hair. My photographer, Ollie Songalong, he helped me with the photos, and he did a great job of taking the photos. So the wedding went perfectly, and I just enjoyed myself in my body. Like, I had my muscles, even if I wasn't as lean as I wanted to be, or I wasn't as lean as I thought I would be, I still had all my muscles. I still felt amazing. I felt awesome in my body, and that was literally the happiest day of my life. So that was great. So after that, now I'm basically in this maintenance mode. So maintenance right now for me, I'm just maintaining my weight at around 102 to 103 pounds, and I'm still eating very low carb, and I'm doing this just because I feel my best when I eat low carb. So I'm eating pretty keto right now. Like, I'm eating mostly just every single day. I keep it really simple. I don't eat too much variety in my diet, because if I do, the more variety I introduce in my diet, it makes me crave sugar and carbs more. So I tend to avoid having too much variety, and I just stick to really simple foods. Because when you eat simple foods, they're really boring, and boring foods decrease your appetite and you don't have a lot of cravings. So what I eat is just basically avocado, ground beef, butter, avocado oil, and eggs. That's like basically it. I recently added in pickles though, because pickles help me if I have a craving to snack on things. Sometimes I want to eat food after my meal, and sometimes pickles can help me with that. But otherwise, that's what I mainly eat for most of the week. And then on the weekends, I will still eat some charcuterie, like cheese and meat, but I will not have any starches. Like I don't want rice, I don't want bread. Those foods just don't make me feel good, and I'm fine with not having them anymore. And if I have potatoes, potatoes are okay, but I just gotta limit it, and I don't wanna go too overboard with that. But anyways, you guys, so that is a summary of my 2022 weight loss journey. And I just wanna share with you that even if I've gone through all that, you guys, still every single day, it is a practice. Every single day, I plan out the food I'm gonna eat. Every single day, I'm still weighing myself, not from this obsessive place, but more just like from a feedback standpoint of like, oh, okay, what food caused me to gain weight? What food caused me to lose weight? It's just to make, it just helps me make sure I'm not feeding more food than my body needs. And I feel like my relationship with the scale is so much healthier now. Like, I'm not as hard on myself if the number goes up. I just meet myself with compassion, and I just learn from it and move on. So that is my journey in a wrap, and I'm really happy with where I'm at. Like, I realized that I didn't need to be in the leanest body for me to feel healthy. What I value more, which is showing like a mindset shift from earlier this year, but what's most important to me is how I feel, and how I feel mentally, how I feel physically, how I feel emotionally. And I feel my best when I eat a low carb diet that's higher in fat and higher in protein. That's when I feel my best. Like, I do pretty well with a high fat diet as long as it's like healthy fats, and I'm also pairing it with protein. It's almost like, my diet's pretty close to carnivore because it's mostly meat and eggs, with the exception of avocado and pickles, but I really don't eat a lot of carbs, not even net carbs, you guys. So it's a little closer to carnivore, but it makes me feel my best. Sometimes my brain will be like, oh, that's too restrictive, but honestly, I feel my best. Like, I'm clear, I'm mentally clear, I have so much energy, I sleep well when I eat this way, and it's just the best. So I'm gonna continue eating this way for the rest of the year, and we'll see if anything changes. But for now, I'm really happy with where I'm at, and I just want to share this with you. So if you have any questions on this, any questions about what I learned, feel free to comment below. And if you want support and guidance with this, if you know that you want to eat sugar-free, but you feel like sugar tempts you, and you feel like it's so hard to feel in control around sugar, and you're a busy woman entrepreneur, you're like a high-achieving professional woman who knows that you want to feel your best, you want mental clarity, you want to feel satiated, you want to feel more productive in your day and mentally clear, let me know by going over to the chat, and I'd be happy to book a one-on-one call with you. And I'd love to go on a free impulse mastery strategy session with you so we could see exactly what's keeping you stuck in your weight loss goals, and I'll give you an action plan on how to feel in control around your impulses to eat sugar and carbs right away so you could start losing weight permanently. All right, you guys, so that is 2022 in a wrap. Would love to hear how your 2022 weight loss journeys have been. And again, if this was a video that you want to see more of, if you like this kind of content, I'm sort of playing around with what kind of videos to make. If you like this sort of more personal style, let me know. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. So be sure to subscribe, click the bell for notifications on future videos so you could get notified when they come out. And I'll see you next week. right, you guys, take care.